Oh, England, you make this so much more easier than it should be and way more fun than it should be to give out your player ratings when you put in performances like that. Boy, are we going to have some fun and give some brutal player ratings here. But credit where it's due, there was some good performances in there too, so we need to highlight the somewhat good performances, but there was plenty of average performances in there that we will touch on. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Up the Guts channel, and yes, as you saw in the intro, this is the Player Ratings England edition. If you haven't already gone and watched my Australian edition, make sure you go ahead and watch that. That was dropped last night, as I'm recording this on a Tuesday. That was dropped on Monday night, so make sure you go back and watch that. But as I said, we're going to split it up into two videos from now, just some more content to go into it, but here's the player ratings for England, and if you're a regular listener, you know, but I'll just quickly go over it. Tier list is S, A, B, C, and F. That is how I give my first player ratings. Without further ado, let's start off with England going in batting order. So first off the bat is Zach Crawley. Now, he's putting some decent performances in now where we start going, okay, now I can see why now you averaged 31.8, which is not amazing, but 31.8 and have made 500 and have made a double century before. I can see that. Why? 61 matches. He made 9 in the first innings, didn't look great, but in the second innings really valued his wicket, and probably threw, did he throw away his 100 or just came short of 100? I thought he batted really well. It was 85 of 140 odd balls. Probably, other than Ben Stokes, one of the only ones who valued their wicket. I was actually quite impressed with some of the performances Zach Crawley has been putting. He just hasn't been able to go all the way. He would love to get that 100 off his belt, but it was nothing to do. Also took 2 catches in the field, so I'm going to give him a B. Put him in the B tier purely for his 85. Next up is Ben Duckett. Oh boy, Ben Duckett. There's going to be a few of them down here, but Ben Duckett is going to go in the F tier. There's no other spot that I can really put Ben Duckett in there. 29 in the first innings and then only 4 in the second inning. Has really struggled this series. Now, Ben Duckett's record is really good. 41 matches. He's 41 test matches, 2,969 at 40.67 test average. Made 600. He's got 600 to his name, but he only has one way of playing, and that is to go from the very first ball. Doesn't like leaving many. He's like leave percentage was under 10. In test match cricket. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's come up on Triple M a few times. But he only has one way to go, and that is to attack from the ball one, and often that will get you out on Australian wickets when you try and play at a wide one. You will often get caught behind, as we've seen on a fair few times. And Ben Duckett I was listening to all over Bar the Cricket. If you haven't listened to that podcast, make sure you go listen. James Brayshaw, Greg Blewett, and Matthew Hayden. But Matthew Hayden was saying where people get themselves out, especially in Australia, is when they hang the bat out that 5th, 6th stump line and try and play a drive where you might be able to get it in different countries. But you can't get that in Australia. He mentioned Sachin Tendulkar learned that. There was a series where he was probably getting a bit under it, but then he started leaving balls outside and just didn't play it at all. And then what did that do? That made the likes of Glenn McGrath and that have to bowl Jason Gillespie, have to bowl at him, bring the ball at him in order to try and get a wicket because he just wasn't playing a ball. And once he got it at him, and he said especially in Australian wickets, once you get a straight ball, the pitches are made to be a batsman's paradise, so you can put them away quite easily. You also mentioned Virat Kohli. We saw when he was over here recently, how did he get caught out? Get caught out all the time. Caught behind in the slips cordon, trying to drive and hanging his bat out at a wide ball that he might be get away with back in India, but he wasn't getting away with in Australia. And that's what Ben Duckett's kryptonite at the moment. The fact that he has no first gear where he can just sit back and assess the conditions. He has to go from ball one, and it's got him again. So F tier here for Ben Duckett. Next up is Ollie Pope, and 3 players have been done. two players are in the F tier. And Ollie Pope, I don't even want... Excuse me. I don't know. I think maybe he might be dropped at the end of this test match, possibly. If they want to have a look at Jacob Bettful, I know he hasn't got a first-class 100, hasn't got a great record. I made a video on that before, how Michael Vaughan loves him. If you haven't seen that, go to the Instagram and the TikTok to have a look at that. But he's the only batsman that has stayed over. All the other England Lions players have gone back home after their match against the Australia A squad. They've all gone home. Jacob Bettful's the only one who stayed back. So that would be the only replacement. In test matches, he's played 64 matches and he averages 34.55 and has 900s to his name, but he's a very unorthodox player, and it's like he's caught in two minds, whether he wants to be that Bazball or he wants to try and play his own game. So 317 and a catch in the field for Ollie Pope. He goes in the F tier. Next up is Joe Root. Now, I'll never have anything bad to say about Joe Root. He came across and he did exactly what would be a big X on his resume in this series, and he did it in the second test. That was to get 100 for the first time in Australia. So I can't say much of a bad word about him. He tries, but first innings, he got 19, 39 in second innings, looked a bit better. They broke the partnership there. Then bowled a little bit too. I don't mind Joe Root's bowling. I nearly almost prefer him over Will Jack's bowling. Didn't grab a wicket, but none for 32 from 8. But purely, he's got that... the thing that was dying, hanging over him. It would have been playing on his mind, trying to get that first 100 in Australia. He got it in the second test. Hasn't fired much of a bullet since, but I'm going to put him in the C tier for this one. Now, Harry Brook. It's not the same Harry Brook that we came over and the Australians would have been worried about. The vice-captain, like in test matches, he's played 33 test matches. He's made 2,993 runs and an average of 54.41. An average over 50 is insane. He's already got 10 hundreds, and he's also got a triple century with a high score of 317. We have not seen that, Harry Brook. Whether it's the Australian conditions that have just been too much for him and he hasn't been able to adapt, which I think might be the reason, because he's like exactly like Ben Duckett. It's only one way to go, and that's to go hard on every ball. So 45 in the first innings, 30 in the second innings, took 2 catches, but in these next 2 matches, I'd love to see him just try and take some time to assess the wicket, because he's getting starts. Like 45 and 30, they're somewhat starts. He's putting in a few boundaries away. Once you get over into those 30s, you've got yourself a start. Even you'd say in the mid-20s, you've got yourself a start, a setting stone to build off, but he just hasn't been able to go over. He got a 50 in the first test, but hasn't got one since. So... he'll be looking to get another one and just try and sit there and assess the options, because he's the type of player that can rip a game apart. There's no doubt about that. Harry Brook, I'm gonna put him there with Joe Root in the C tier. Next up is the skipper, Ben Stokes, and he battled really hard for his 83 in the first innings. Threw Bazball out the window and said, boys, this is how you value a wicket, test match style, and was quite impressive at how patient he was. We saw how disappointed he was when he went out, and then the second innings just copped an absolute beauty from Nathan Lyon that he even had to acknowledge, geez, that's a really good ball. And probably should have bowled a bit more than he did, especially in that second innings when the game was on the line. He just didn't bowl as much as Weaver was, because his body was not letting him. He's too tired. I'm not sure. He's one of their better downright swing bowlers. So 19 overs in the first innings, didn't catch a wicket, none for 53. Only bowled the 7 in the second innings. That's where he should have been bowling a bit more, especially on day 3 when they could have got themselves in a better position and tried to break that partnership up of Travis Head, try and get him out early. He doesn't go on to make 170. We don't know, because we saw at the end of the day they got past that 300 mark. So if they'd got Travis Head out, I know it's an if, but to what? If they got Travis Head out earlier, bowled tighter, we could be talking about an England win here. But it's not to be. Ben Stokes, I'm going to put him with Zach Crawley in the B tier. Jamie Smith is another interesting one. So prior coming over to him, I'd heard, again, here we go, Michael Vaughan talk about him. He'd only played 18 test matches, but he'd already made 1,209 runs at 43.17 and made 200s from those 18 matches. Hadn't fired a shot this series with the bat, had probably is kept very poorly, whereas Alex Carey, on the other hand, is kept magnificently. 22 in the first innings, but then we saw the Jamie Smith that we'd heard about with his 60. Started playing some shots on day 5, and that's where the Aussies would have been going, oh, geez, I'm getting a bit worried here. Started putting them away, but then when they got him out is when they shifted the game back into their favour. But that 60 was a game-changing for England that put him in a somewhat of a winning position. So for that, I'm also going to put him in the B tier with Stokes and Crawley. Will Jacks. I somewhat feel for Will Jacks. He's been given a hard job as the frontline spinner when he's only a part-time bowler. He doesn't bowl much at all, and he's been given the role as a part-time spinner. Bowled 20 overs in the first innings, 2 for 105, and then, 19 overs in the second innings, 1 for 107. So he's been given the hard jobs, and the Aussies have just absolutely taken to him and smacked him all around the parks, although grabbing a wicket here and there along the way as well. And then with the bat, I've been really impressed with his batting, though. Mainly known as a T20 batsman who plays his shots, but I've been impressed because I hadn't heard much about him, but I'd heard coming over, he's gone around the world and played in different tournaments and T20s. But what I've been impressed with is his patience. So his patience in the second test when he got his 40-odd as well, but then he got 47 here, was really patient. And when they got him out, it was pretty much game over. So I'm going to put Will Jacks, just purely for his bowling, how expensive it was. He can't go in the B, so he has to go in the C, even though he got 3 wickets and a 47. Now, Bryden Cast is another interesting one. Took 5 wickets for the game, 2 for 89 off 16 in the first innings, then 3 for 80 off 20 in the second innings. I thought he was a bit expensive, a bit wayward, but one thing about Bryden Cast, he knows how to get a wicket, can get the ball moving, can get the ball talking balls with plenty of pace. But I thought he was a little bit expensive. 2 catches, a duck in the first innings, because we know he can hold a bat, then 39 not out. In the second innings was one of the batsmen to hang around when England were like, do we have a little bit of hope here? Again, not to be. Aussies, woohoo. But he was the one, so he collected 5 wickets, put that 39 not out. I'm going to put him in the B tier alongside Crawley, Stokes, and Jamie Smith. Now, Jofra Archer bowled beautifully in the first innings. This is the Jofra Archer that the Aussies would have been worried about. 5 for 63 from 20.2 overs. That's a lot of overs for Jofra Archer, and credit to him for being able to do it. And then the second innings, again, economical. 1 for 20 off 12.4 overs. What I've been so impressed with is his batting. He looks like a decent batter, as a lower order batter who plays his shots, waits for the, leaves the good balls and waits for the bad balls to put away, and has a really nice drive and plays a nice cut shot right underneath his eye. So I've been really impressed with him. But that first innings, bold wheels from the get-go, was bowling 145 plus from the get-go. That's the Jofra Archer that England needed in the second test. And he brought it in the first innings for the third test. Was really impressive to see. And for me, he goes in the only player to go in the A tier. Last but not least, it was the player who was added to the squad added to the side in Josh Tongue. Decent performance, especially in the second innings. 1 for 64 from 16, 4 for 70 from 18 in the second innings, and also took a catch. Bowls plenty of pace, but also gets the ball moving, puts it in the right areas. I was quite impressed. I was quite impressed with the way he bowled. He was a bit wayward in the first innings, but that second innings was quite impressive. Again, I hadn't heard much about him. I just heard that he was quick. So coming in, did not know what to expect. He somewhat surprised me, and for that, I'm going to put him in the B tier. It was nothing like amazing, but he's collected 4 in the second innings, so we've got to show some respect to that. Well, there you have it, guys. There is my player ratings for the third test for the England cricket team. We'll quickly go over it now. A tier, we got Jofra Archer. B tier, we got Zach Crawley, Ben Stokes, Bryden Cast, and Josh Tongue. No one in the S tier, I forgot to mention. C tier, we got Joe Root, Harry Brook, and Will Jacks. And in the F tier, I have got Ben Duckett and Ollie Pope. Let me know in my comments what I got right and what I got wrong, and also what other content you'd like to see as the Ashes comes towards the back end of it. Obviously, there'll be ODIs to talk about. If you'd like to hear some more Big Bash content, let me know in the comments about that too. But for now, thank you guys for watching along. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and comment on the video. Hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you're notified whenever we upload. Until next time, I'll see you guys then.